All right, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about the new Tier 95 Wand and Orb, the Roar of Awakening, and the Ode to Deceit. The main things we're going to talk about today are what they do, how you should use them, and my thoughts on them, whether or not I think they're good. So first, what do they do? I'm assuming you're going to use them both together. So first, your bleeds are amplified by 30% damage. That's really good. That's the 2-set bonus. Then the 1-set bonus is your damage over time abilities to generate essence corruption, which lasts 30 seconds. And then this does more stuff the more stacks you get, up to 50 stacks. The stacks go up to 100, but you stop getting more bonuses at 50. So we'll get a stack of essence, and then we'll actually read what it does. So here, at 1 stack, your dot abilities have a chance to refresh the cooldown and deal all their damage. That's really good. At 25 stacks, your all instances of magic damage deal all of your magic level and all of your stacks on hit. This is very, very good, especially good with bleeds. Then at 50 stacks, your basic abilities generate extra adrenaline. Cool. So that is what they do. Also, the main hand has a special attack called Soulfire, which just does disgusting amount of bleed damage. We'll just cast this on its own. Without the reset, this is doing pretty substantial amount of damage. It's like, what, 35, 40k damage? It might even be more than that. I wasn't counting all of the hits. It's a lot of damage. From one button press, getting 40,000 damage, no questions asked, that's a big deal. It's hard to feel bad about that. So whether or not these weapons stay meta, this special attack is always going to be something worth considering. Now we know what they do. How do you use them? So the main thing to keep in mind is that bleeds don't work with sunshine, meaning they don't get buffed up by sunshine at all. They're anti-synergistic. So the current and best way to use them is by doing your fracture staff rotation. Then once your fracture staff rotation is over, you do your bleeds. So what that is going to look like is something like this, where I'm not going to summon my Calgarian Demon because I'm just going to hit the training dummies, but you are going to hit this, get all of your stuff, and then you just do a fracture staff rotation. So I'm just going to go through fracture staff rotation here. And then, so you're going to do your whole fracture staff rotation, and then you're going to like chuck in a bleed here just to get your essence corruption stacked. But yeah, so, you just do your whole fracture staff rotation. Nothing super weird here. Okay, now we've done a fracture staff rotation, and then now we do our bleed stuff. So we do Soulfire. It didn't reset, so cool. We do our combust, also didn't reset, and then that's basically it. Now we just build up to 100% of adrenaline. Our corruption blast did reset, so we'll recast it. Now we do a fracture staff rotation again. So that's how you use it. It's pretty boring, but that's what you do. That's the way you use it. There are things you can do to augment this if you are willing to put in the extra effort. One thing that you can do is bring an armor switch. So what I do, or what I try to do, I'm not very good at it yet. What I try to do is when I'm doing my crit stuff, I wear my Anima Core of Sliske. And when I'm not doing that, I put on Tectonic, because Tectonic will buff up the damage of your blades. Another thing that you can do is, in addition to doing an armor switch, whenever you are switching to your Tectonic, you also switch to Exsanguinate. Now, the reason you switch to Exsanguinate is that this passive Blood Tithe buffs up your basic attack damage by up to 12%, which is very, very good. But beyond that, once you're at max stacks, you unlock Rack and Ruin, which amplifies your next combust by giving it 2 extra hits. So combining that with Karapak's wrist wraps, which combust will amplify the damage, will get its damage amped by Dragon Breath, you get a pretty nasty synergy where you just get a bunch of hits. Combining this with the Conflagrate buff from Soulfire, what you can do is you can Soulfire, Dragon Breath, Rack and Ruin, and then Combust. And then the Combust just does like 8 hits, or I think it's 7 hits of like 2,000 damage. So getting a 14k Combust for free is pretty good. And then the damage of Combust also just gets buffed up by Exsanguinate. So it does end up being a pretty substantial damage increase if you are willing to keep track of your stacks. Just, it is a lot to keep track of. But those are all of the ways that you can amplify this. And if you're willing to do that, you do get really good returns. So now I'm going to play some Ratchet kills that I got just while I was farming this and while I was like recording content for this and just trying to get accustomed with it. These are all pool skips. I'm not going to include the fails because they're really bad. But yeah, now we're going to talk about how I feel about these weapons. Okay, so long story short, I super don't like these. One of the big hopes I had for this when they first came out was that, okay, hopefully this will like augment magic in a way that's super interesting, where instead of Fracture Staff being the only thing that we can do with magic, you know, Tectonic will get a passive that influences bleeds, and we can get our like dedicated bleed build. You know, maybe Magma Tempest is considered a bleed for all sakes, for all intents and purposes. I thought that was the direction we were going to go in. That's not the direction that we went in. Instead, it's just bleeds don't work with Sunshine, so, and they can't crit. So when you're not allowed to crit anymore, or when crits don't matter anymore, and when your Sunshine's off, just do this bleed stuff, I guess. That's kind of what it turned into, and that's how it's being used now. And that's good, but it's good because Soulfire does a disgusting amount of damage, and because there isn't a reason to equip a physical Fractured Staff. If that ever changes, these immediately become dead content, or you literally just spec without caring about the corruption stacks because the spec is 40k damage, and then that's all that you do with it. In my mind, that makes these non-functional standalone weapons, and currently they're only good because using a Fracture Staff is just not that good. That's pretty sad, and that's something that hopefully gets addressed in the future, but as it stands, makes me feel really bad about these weapons. Additionally, the RNG aspect of them really makes or break kills. So in all of these kills, or I think in all of these kills, I don't actually remember how all of these kills went exactly. I just know that they're all pull skips. But in all of these kills, I had the Soulfire spec proc a few times. So when you're getting kills because your spec is resetting itself, so you're getting a 50k hit straight into, you know, 5k bleeds every second, that's cool, but that also feels pretty bad. Like you can see here, I got a spec or a reset, and like the damage is really insane, but that feels bad when you don't, because it feels like, okay, when I get a proc, I get to do something really cool and really awesome, and when I don't get a proc, I get to do something that's fine. It just doesn't feel as good, if that makes sense. It feels a lot worse than I would want it to. I'm not sure if there's a good fix for this. The RNG system is probably just what we've got, but it didn't feel that good how whenever I was failing pool skip, it was because, oh, my Soulfire didn't proc. Now, I know this is because I'm not very good with magic, and I don't know like how I should be doing my rotation here. So I know that's just my inexperience. All these clips were recorded over literally my first hour using this. So this is coming from a decent amount of inexperience, but as a relatively inexperienced user of magic and like this setup in particular, it just felt like if I wasn't getting a reset on the spec, I wasn't getting a pull skip, and that just didn't feel that good to use. So that's kind of where I'm at with this, is that generally I'm disappointed with the implementation, where the only reason that we're using it is because it, your bleeds can't crit, and your crits and like your bleeds don't work with sunshine. So hey, since when your sunshine's off you don't care about crit anyways, here's something to do. That just rubs me the wrong way, especially because we know that Fracture Staff is getting a new passive effect at some point. So it is likely that we're going to want to be using our Fracture Staff when, our Sunshine is on cooldown and when the spec is on cooldown. If that's the case, it's entirely possible that these weapons become non-functional. And again, that really rubs me the wrong way. So ideally in the future, these get fixed. I'm not like super doom and gloom in the sense that like, oh, I'm never going to use magic, or these weapons are dead content, or anything like that. They're just disappointing in their implementation, and like it just feels bad to me as someone who enjoys builds and enjoys variety in the gameplay. I want to be able to do different things with magic, and this build, these weapons don't let us do different things with magic. It lets us do the same thing, except it's a little bit better. That sucks. I don't like the version of RuneScape where every magic item that ever comes out is balanced around Fractured Staff, and if Fractured Staff can't take advantage of it, or if it has explicit anti-synergies with Fractured Staff, it just sucks. That's not a fun version of the game, and that's not a version of the game that I am happy to play. So I'm going to use these if I feel like using magic, because when they are giving you your resets, it feels awesome. But I don't think this is something I'm going to be super excited about using, if that makes sense. Like when these aren't working, it feels fine. Like your bleeds are doing okay damage, and like that's a thing that they're doing, and it's fine. But when they're not giving you the super powerful thing where you're getting your 50k damage reset, once or even twice, it's just meh. Like, I don't know. They're just not that fun for me. And I play games for fun. So the way that they're currently implemented not being fun is kind of a bummer. And it's something that hopefully gets fixed in the future. But yeah, like, they are good. It is objectively better than what we had before they were released. So, obviously, if all you're looking for is more damage, more better, yes, these give you more damage, and more damage is better than less damage. So for the people who are concerned that, maybe these aren't putting out the crazy damage that, we want magic to have, that is not the case. These do a lot of damage. I just don't like them. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. But yeah, hopefully you guys like this video. I would like to see these get changed, if not directly, then indirectly through us getting more bleed support. But if that doesn't happen, then if magic ever ends up becoming mandatory at a certain spot, or if necro/melee become like unusable at a certain place, then I'll probably use these. I probably won't be very happy about it, but that's kind of where I'm at. Just sucks that these weren't implemented a little bit better. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Thanks guys for watching. If you like the video, feel free to give it a like. If you like the channel, feel free to subscribe. I plan on putting out more of these types of discussion videos where I talk about what I want to see out of the game and whether or not Jagex is delivering on that, and if they're not delivering on that, how I would want to see them change it. So as new stuff comes out, that's the type of content I plan on releasing around it. So yeah, hopefully you guys are looking forward to that. And if not, it's my channel, so I'm going to do it anyways. But yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching.